Hey everybody, welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. I'm Rockin Robbie Billups, and it's time for the weekly pop culture wrap-up. That's right everybody, time for the weekly pop culture wrap-up. It's the show where I go over the week's pop culture news, mostly comic books and movies. Let's get right into it with some comic book news. Very exciting news was announced at WonderCon this weekend by DC Comics. Scott Snyder went up with a few others and revealed a whole bunch about New Justice, which is going to be the banner for the new Justice League titles and Justice League related titles coming up. So we got No Justice coming up, and then after that we get Justice League by Scott Snyder, Jim Chung, and Jorge Jimenez. Super pumped for that book. Snyder revealed that the Justice League teams will all be centered around the Hall of Justice from the Super Friends cartoon. Also from the Super Friends cartoon, the Legion of Doom making their triumphant return into the comic books. Super excited for this stuff. Other news though, we knew that James Tynion IV and Joshua Williamson had something to do with some upcoming Justice League books. We now have the details. James Tynion IV, along with Alvaro Martinez, both those guys have been doing amazing work at Detective Comics. They are doing Justice League Dark, which is going to be like Justice League Magic, the Mystic team, right? Led by Wonder Woman. So you got Wonder Woman, Zatanna, in a really cool, sleek, redesigned costume I'm a big fan of. Detective Chimp, Swamp Thing with some gnarly dreads, and we got Man-Bat. Man-Bat, to me, is the odd choice there. To other people, it's Wonder Woman. To other people, they are kind of upset that John Constantine is not in on the team, but Tynion does say that all of the magic-based heroes that he's allowed to use will be in the book. Constantine will be a big part of the book. I'm kind of excited to check this one out. We also have Justice League Odyssey. This one is from Joshua Williamson and Stepan Sajic. I butcher his name every time, but that's like Justice League Space. That's a really odd team. You got Starfire, Cyborg, Jessica Cruz, Green Lantern, Azrael in the coolest redesigned costume out of all of these. That Azrael costume is fire. And Darkseid. And Darkseid is an odd addition. Obviously, don't trust Darkseid. What does it all mean? Odyssey, it reflects Cosmic Odyssey. Mike Mignola was that Jim Starlin back, that big, it was a Darkseid story. It's a thing, so maybe it reflects that, but Darkseid's on the team. He looks a lot more like Ronan, the Accuser from the Guardians movie, but it's a young man, Darkseid, so I guess I just want to know what sets this up. I cannot wait to read these titles. They are some odd teams, and historically, there's always been like a decent or a good Justice League book, and then all the ones that usually surround it are not as good. I do have higher hopes for this run. If one of them falls off, I think it might be Odyssey, but I'm not going to cast any judgment before I read it because I am super excited for Snyder, Tynion, Williamson, their enthusiasm for the Justice League. I made a video not too long ago about how we deserve a better Justice League. I think DC answered that, and straight up they're giving us a better Justice League. Along with the changes in Justice League are coming changes in the Teen Titans books. There are now going to be 2 new Titans books, no Teen Titans, and the Titans book is being canceled and relaunched. And so what's happening is there's New Titans, which is going to be the Teen Titans book, but it's called New Titans. That's going to be written by Adam Glass with artwork by Bernard Chang, and it's going to be led by Damian Wayne Robin, just like the Teen Titans is right now. Known people that are in it, of course, are going to be not Beast Boy, I looked at the wrong thing, Kid Flash. So it's Damian Wayne, Kid Flash, and Red Arrow, and Red Arrow it's going to be Ollie's sister from the current run in Green Arrow, and some other new characters that are being introduced, including Crush, which is Lobo's daughter. That's kind of interesting. So there's that. And then Titans. So it's going to be confusing because people are going to say, give me that new Titans book. And they're going to mean Titans, the new Titans book. But there's also a book called New Titans. So that's a little confusing. I think they should, I don't know what's wrong with the branding of Titans and Teen Titans. Anyway, the Titans book's going to be written by Dan Abnett, who's been writing Titans. And it's going to be led by Nightwing. It's going to be basically the farm team for the Justice League. So it's Nightwing, Raven, Beast Boy, Steel, and Miss Martian. That's a very exciting team. That is such an exciting team for me. I'm a huge Steel fan. Miss Martian, I'm excited about that. But Beast Boy and Raven, I'm not that I'm just excited for Steel. I am excited to have Steel in the comic book again. I'm such a huge Steel fan, and you can tell that because I read comic books in the 80s and 90s, and I was a Superman fan. So put it together. Over at DC, Frank Miller, they announced that Frank Miller has a 5-book deal right now with DC Comics. The first book is going to be the aforementioned Superman Year One. We talked about that a couple weeks ago, I believe, on the weekly pop culture wrap-up, so check back every single Sunday. We are here, and that book seems interesting, but he's doing a young reader's Carrie Kelly book. Carrie Kelly is a character he created. She became Robin in The Dark Knight Returns. I think the character deserves the spotlight. I think a young reader's book is perfect to spotlight that character out of continuity, out of any kind of context. Just do a good story. I just almost doubt Frank Miller's ability to write an all-ages book, or at least a younger reader book. It's not going to be all ages. It's going to be like a young reader's book, like I guess maybe middle school or something like that. Maybe one on one of DC Inc. or something like that, right? But I'm not going to pass judgment until I check it out. But I highly doubt Frank Miller's ability to do a young reader's book. But you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Maybe he's going to teach us something. So there you go, right there. So that's going to be kind of cool. That book, by the way, is going to have art by Ben Caldwell, and the art that has been shown has been pretty good. They also showed a little bit of art from Superman Year One by John Romita Jr. Looks pretty cool. At Marvel, I don't have a lot of news right now. They're kind of overshadowed by DC this week with all that Justice League and Titans news and Frank Miller news. But we do know that a Dazzler one-shot is coming called X Song. It's going to be written by Magdalene Visaggio and artwork by Laura Brack. I think that's Brack. Man, my handwriting there. Maybe I should have written that a little bit clearer. Anyway, so you got those guys. They're doing a Dazzler one-shot. I'm not a huge Dazzler fan, but I'm always willing to give it another shot and another reinterpretation of Dazzler. The problem with Dazzler, and one of the most interesting things about Dazzler to me, is that she's a pop star, right? She's a musician. She's like a famous musician. And Dazzler was created like in the late 70s, very early 80s during the disco era. So anytime you have Dazzler in a book after a few years or whatever, you kind of have to reimagine her, reinvent her, and it flows along with the music. And I think that's an interesting thing, but it's also a hindrance to the character because it's very inconsistent, the Dazzler story. Somebody should do something real. I'm going to save that idea. I'm going to save that. I got a good Dazzler pitch right now. Anyway, over at Boom Studios, they revealed a Shattered Grid trailer this week starring Jason David Frank as Lord Draken. He showed up in full costume doing the dialogue. That was cool. Being a Power Rangers fan, I'm already super pumped for Shattered Grid. It's going to give us the Power Rangers crossover, big epic anniversary celebration that we were expecting out of Super Megaforce, but did not get whatsoever. If you're a Sentai fan, watch Gokaiger, because they really delivered on that one. But in Super Megaforce, they just did not deliver. This comic book series seems like it's going to deliver. Great idea to have JDF show up to do Lord Draken, and it just yeah, of course, because now people that have not been reading this Power Rangers comic are like, what's going on here? What's going on? Very exciting. Movies, TV, we got a few little bits to get over right now. First of all, Astro City, comic book created by Kurt Busiek, one of my absolute favorite comic books when I was a teenager in the 90s. I went to high school in the 90s, and Astro City was like my thing. It was like, I loved it. I loved Kurt Busiek so much in the 90s. I just adored him as a writer and the way he wrote those superheroes. Astro City was phenomenal to me. It blew my little teenage mind away. I really like it. It's still been continuing. Recently just is going to be ending, but they're doing TV series. American Gods, those producers, they decided maybe we should try an Astro City series. So nothing official yet. They just acquired the rights, but Astro City is something that would be amazing for television because it's this whole world, this whole cinematic universe, if you will, but each story just focuses on a little corner of it. And that's just something that would be really cool. It'd almost be like anthology-like, and I think that could be really neat. Over at Freeform, they're doing the Cloak and Dagger series. We've got a new image of Cloak and Dagger and a new trailer. And dudes, this looks good to me. I think it looks solid. I don't know. It seems like it's got some richness to it. It's got some great characterization, a little bit of action, updated, hip, but still true at times to the comic book origins. I don't know. I'm kind of down for it. I became a Cloak and Dagger fan early on because of Maximum Carnage. So yeah, let's check it out. I'm excited to see that. Stephen S. DeKnight, who was the original showrunner over at Netflix on Daredevil, has expressed interest in bringing Moon Knight to the small screen, to a television show. It's a great idea. It's fantastic. You really need to focus on what Warren Ellis did, I believe, and do that type of a vibe with it. And you need to cast Timothy Olyphant. That's what you need to do. Mega Spider-Man, Mega Spider-Man, right? You had asked me what I thought about the Fantastic Beasts Crimes of Grindelwald trailer. It came out a couple weeks ago. I never saw it, so I didn't really talk about it. I just watched it like a few minutes ago, and it looks cool. It looks really, really cool. I was expecting Jude Law to do a little bit more of an impression of Dumbledore, but aside from that, kind of the way like Ewan McGregor did Alec Guinness like perfectly. He like captured the voice and the motions and everything of Obi-Wan in the Star Wars films. I was expecting Jude Law to do something more like that, and maybe he will. We just can't see it through the trailer, but the trailer looked great. Johnny Depp as Grindelwald looks so scary and so menacing. It looks exciting to me. The first Fantastic Beasts, I'm a huge Potterhead, by the way. I love the Potter movies. I love the books. The first Fantastic Beasts film, I've only seen it one time, and I was kind of like let down, but I had really high hopes. I'm expecting that I'll like it a little bit better when I rewatch it coming up. I'm about to do a big Potter rewatch thing with my lady. But so I didn't really like Fantastic Beasts as much as I liked some of the Potter films, but this trailer looks really, really cool. But the ending, and I know it's the Harry Potter theme, but a little bit different. It sounds too much like the Avengers theme, because Avengers is going to dominate this year, absolutely. But that trailer looked good. Thank you for pointing that out. Mega Spider-Man, thanks for pointing that out, seriously, because I completely missed that. Anyway, that's what we have for you this week. PCP-wise here at Pop Culture Philosophers in the Huntsville Attic. We got a new podcast out right now, 80s Comedies. We had Richard and Alex from the Killing Time podcast, radio drama, whatever you want to call it, web series. Killing Time is great. Check them out. Check out that podcast. It was super fun having them on the show. We talk about our favorite 80s comedies. We talk about SNL's influence on 80s comedy, our favorite characters, our favorite villains. Really good podcast. Check it out. Our next podcast after that is going to be Westerns, supposedly with Justin Goldsmith and Mike Matthews. So we shall see if they actually show. Hammer Time Holshoe, of course, will be there. But do subscribe to us on iTunes and any other Android podcast service, things like that, or directly from our site, popculturephilosophers.com. Be there for podcast, blogs, and a whole lot more. Thank you guys for checking out the video. Let me know in the comments below anything you want to say, or anything I missed, or anything you want to talk about. Love talking to you guys about pop culture in the comments down below. Don't forget, we got a Movie Monday coming out tomorrow. We're starting Phase 3 of our MCU rewatch. Me, Jelani, and Brooks discuss Captain America Civil War. That is tomorrow. More After Hours podcasts released this week, and a newsletter to our Patreon supporters, so be on the lookout for that, guys. Thank you guys for rocking with us. Thanks for watching the video. Like, share, subscribe. Keep on reading. Keep on digging. Keep on living. Keep on.